I'll rip and screaming from your soul. We'll watch it fall. Now you come to walk on. Come and set your light through. Just set your light through before we're only whispers in the
Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again.
Never
Hello, all you weebs, and welcome to Grappling with the Week, the show that brings you the hottest wrestling news and highlights from the steamy kitchens of NXT to the gritty, fast-paced action of AEW. We talk about it all and give you a big discussion piece to truly and honestly satisfy that hunger of wrestling content. We're brought to you by Anime Week Studios, and we are hosted by your Weebs of the Ring. Let's stomp a mud hole into this week and get right into the action. How's it going, everybody? It is your World Champion Watkins here. Another week has gone by. Apologies for missing last week. Some things kind of got in the way, but hey, that's all good. Not a issue for having a week break from the show, but we're back with episode 15 of Grappling with the Week. And yeah, hopefully everybody's been having a good week. A lot of news stories coming out. We got Backlash this weekend to talk about, and yeah, some big things happening in NXT and AEW too. So yeah, we'll get right into the discussion pieces here in just a second. But of course, if you're new to the channel, that's all good. It's all fine. Again, I am your World Champion Watkins, here to guide you through the mysteries of professional wrestling and all that. Usually we have a visionary and a revolutionary here, but unfortunately Vash is, again, that contract he has, I swear, Drop, this contract he has with The Rock really keeps him away from the podcast sometimes. I don't understand why he has to keep going into business for himself like that. But as I just mentioned, we have Drop This Box, who is known as the genius of the mat here on the podcast. He's the one that will help us kind of understand and process all these stories going on. But as always, Drop, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's hot, trying to adjust to the weather and everything. I have 2 fans going on. You can't hear it, thankfully, otherwise it would just completely blow up the stream. But trying to maintain myself as much as I can.
No, I hear you there. I actually had to turn on my ceiling fan sitting back over here because for a bit the basement was getting kind of cold, and I'm like, all right, I need to turn the fans off. I need no fans, no air right now. I'm chilly down here, and I don't want to get sick because I've already had to deal with the pollen going on. Now it's just warmer weather coming out. But yeah, so enough of the small talk. We're going to get right into the action. We're actually going to start tonight by talking about Backlash a little bit. So Backlash is taking place in St. Louis this year. Unfortunately, we're not going across seas or anything, which, again, kind of unfortunate for Backlash because I think the last 2 were pretty good because of the crowds that they were in front of. But we have 5 matches to kind of go through, so me and Drop are going to sit here. We're going to give you our predictions for the matches and all that. Maybe talk about the builds or for some of these lack of builds and all that. But yeah, let's get right into the action. Again, as I repeat that line for a second time tonight. We got our Intercontinental title on the line. We have dirty-ass Dominic Mysterio defending his title against Penta. Mainly set up because not only from the Fatal 4-Way match we had at WrestleMania where Dom won, but they had a Intercontinental title match the next night on Raw, which a returning JD McDonough, or JD McDonough if you want to call him by his actual name, returned and helped Dom retain the title. And yeah, Penta's looking for a little bit of revenge there. There's still tension within the Judgment Day. I don't think anything's going to come to head here at Backlash. But Job, go ahead. Tell me, who do you think is going to win, why, and anything else you wanted to add with the story and all that?
So when it comes to my overall predictions for this match, I could say Dom, but I feel like just based on how things are currently going with the Judgment Day and kind of how things are shifting around, especially with Liv Morgan gone, which tends to be a consistent theme that happens whenever somebody's like going off doing their own thing. Usually shenanigans play out, and then whenever somebody comes back, you end up building that conflict back up again. So I feel like with that in mind, and just based on how Finn is looking at Dom lately when it comes to the sort of things that's currently going on, I'm going to say Penta, only because I don't know how they're going to run this back again and have Penta get another loss because he has gone up against Dom before and he has lost. And we are coming to a point where even though Penta started off strong heading into the company, racking up a lot of wins and everything, I feel like we're getting to the point where he needs to get that leverage again when it comes to putting himself up there so he's safe for a little bit, because he did win recently when it came to one of his matches, but he still needs a little bit more than that. And plus, I just love drama, so I would like to really see how things unfold with this entire thing when it comes to Dom and the IC title. Because another thing that I took into account as well when it comes to the name of the pay-per-view, it's called Backlash. So you would think, just judging off of the name of the title of the pay-per-view, there would be some sort of theme surrounding that. And knowing how Dom pinned Finn to get the title to begin with, you would think there would be some sort of things playing in Finn's head, potentially wanting to get back at Dom somehow and really put them in a situation where the story between those two characters really need to start taking off. Because with Dom, I mean, you know, he got his one up on Finn, so I feel like this time you need Finn doing the same thing. And plus, when it comes to the competitors that I'm looking at for the rest of these matches, you need some face coming out on top, because judging on a lot of my choices that I'm looking at, a lot of them are heel choices, so you got to have a face get some sort of feel good moment with that. So I'm going to be different this time, and I'm going to say Penta.
Okay, yeah, I mean, hey, nothing wrong with being different and all that. Plus, yeah, you make a lot of good points on all that with Penta winning. I'm still going to go Dirty Ass Dom, though, mainly because I think, because I know there are some reports coming out saying, oh, they're going to be putting Rey Fenix and Penta together as the Lucha Bros. So with Penta constantly being screwed out because of numbers, hey, why not call my brother? Let's try to even these numbers out just a little bit. Maybe somebody being in my corner a little bit. But when it comes to like the Judgment Day story and all that, I think there's more traction for Dom to hold on to that IC title longer and kind of get under the skin of Finn. Maybe more of like Dom's plans working out compared to Finn, because like with Finn, like you kind of got this feeling when AJ went to the clubhouse this past week that Finn saw something that he missed, that he desired again, and that something was through AJ Styles, and we saw him too, like in the background talking to Roxanne Perez. So there could be something building all through there, because you know we saw him doing that prior to all this, anyways. With who was it again? I think it was JD he was talking to. It was somebody he was talking to in the back. Finn was. Or maybe it was. Anyways, that's besides the point. So I think there's just more traction with Dom holding on to the title than there is with him losing. And yeah, it's gonna suck because that means Penta eating another loss. But there are also the rumors of him of the draft happening, and I know Jacob Fatu also just got the U.S. title, but that scene might be a little better for a singles push right now. Or he could stay on the same show as Dom and eventually get the IC title. Just, I think story-wise, it makes more sense to me keeping the title on Dom moving forward. So yeah, I'm gonna go Dom for this fight. Next on our docket, we have the U.S. title. Like I just mentioned, we have Jacob Fatu defending against Damian Priest, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre in a fatal 4-way match. Mainly set up because LA Knight wants a rematch for the U.S. title. Drew wants some sort of glory, and Damian Priest still has some issues with Drew. So hey, let's throw them all together, win the U.S. title, and be done with it. I'm pretty sure the U.S. title is also the only thing Drew needs to win in order to become a Grand Slam champion. Because I saw something this past week on the timeline that showed, oh, these are the titles that certain top stars need to win before they're Grand Slam champions. And I think Drew was there with the U.S. title. I have to double check with that, but that's besides the point. I'm just going to go ahead and say my pick. It's going to be Jacob Fatu. I mean, again, similar reasons to Dom retaining his title go into Jacob Fatu. He just got the title back. There's more story with him and Solo kind of splitting up and feuding, especially over the title. It could be something where Solo does cost him the title, but I don't think that's going to happen quite yet. I think maybe a couple more months down the line, or if the feud is even for the title, which that would be good too. So yeah, I'm sticking with Fatu on this one. Who do you have?
So I'm probably going to say Jacob Fatu as well, because it doesn't really make any sense for him to lose the title at this point, because I feel like, since he's one of those guys, and I'll admit I do view him a lot more than Dom. Dom obviously has a lot more potential in the near future, but when it comes to somebody that could really nail a home run and potentially become world champion next year, I mean, all my money's going towards Jacob Fatu, so I feel like this right here is the building grounds when it comes to really showing how he is as a champion, how dominant he can be, the kind of matches that they really need, because this is the first time in a long time that I could probably say that the US title is starting to feel important again when it comes to somebody actually holding the title. Not saying that LA Knight isn't a nobody, because he's not, because I happen to be a fan of Knight, but I feel like with Jacob Fatu, just based on how much WWE is investing in him and looking at how the crowd feels about him and everything, you could look at him as a legit player in the game when it comes to somebody being a dominant champion, knowing how it's going to take more than one finisher or all these explosive moves to really keep this guy down. And it's also good just to see the mid-card scene in this light, because this is probably the strongest it's been outside of, what we saw before, because before it was like the same people. Now you're sort of mixing in those people you took from that little swap thing that you did with Raw and SmackDown when you throw in Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in there, which were originally on Raw. You can get a pretty good match out of this, because you had that ongoing beef between Priest and McIntyre that's going to unfold in here. Obviously, LA Knight still has issues with the bloodline ever since they started butting heads, but Jacob Fatu, I feel like, makes the most sense. And another thing I'm going to throw in here as well is I feel like there could be some sort of like story revelation thing happening when it comes to like the next level of Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, because you had that whole thing last week of Solo Sikoa like questioning a lot of things. So, and we also have a report that I'm going to throw in here as well when it comes to the rumors of Jeff Cobb potentially being at Backlash. And one of the things that I was saying is you need to pair him with somebody, because he can't really get over on his own. You can't just throw him out there like an Aleister Black or a Rusev, who people know of him based on his work in WWE before. This is his first time in the company. And if you want to throw him on somebody that's like steaming hot right now, that a lot of people love, pairing him with Jacob Fatu, starting this little dominant faction or whatever sort of direction that Jacob Fatu might be taking it, I feel like that would be a pretty good option. So that's another thing I expect here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, that would be really cool to see him come out. And I mean, not that Jacob really needs a bodyguard, because Jacob is a bodyguard in and of itself, but I guess just more of just backup for him, especially in these like multi-man situations that Jacob might continue to find himself in, and to have somebody that's a little bit more, I guess, maybe reliable than Solo, because right now, because like with the story and all that, they could always push it to where like it's like, okay, Solo is kind of running the bloodline into the ground. I mean, again, the great Tonga Loa has been on the bench for a while. Tama Tonga's on the bench for a while. And yeah, they could really play that into a storyline with Jacob like forming his own group away from Solo. Not saying, have a new bloodline, but I mean, kind of will be a new bloodline. And maybe this will open the door for Hikuleo to come in, because he's been on the docket for how long?
I know it's been quite some time.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be fun to see how that plays out. Women's IC title match is next. We have Lyra Valkyria taking on Becky Lynch. So this match was set up from WrestleMania, where Bayley was attacked and Becky Lynch took her place, and her and Lyra won the women's tag titles. The next night on Raw, they put them up again against Liv and Raquel. They lose the titles, and then Becky attacks Lyra. She's accusing Lyra of like coasting off of Becky's success and how Becky needs to, come back and just run roughshod on the women's division again because hey, they're nothing without Becky apparently. And yeah, I mean that's most of the build for this. It's just built off of a very bitter woman and a rising star who was in her shadows because they're both Irish ladies and all that. But Drop, who do you have for this contest and why?
So I'm probably gonna say Becky only if Bayley doesn't interfere. And the reason why I say that is I feel like they're starting to set up something where Becky's going to have the title and she's going to have a little run with it. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have Lyra go on that sort of chase before she probably gets it back at like SummerSlam or whatever, because I feel like they're probably going to extend this rivalry further than just Backlash, given the two competitors that are involved with this and knowing the kind of work that they put in the build so far, because this is the first time that Lyra's actually been able to stand out when they actually gave her a microphone where she was actually able to talk and actually show some sort of personality. Because in NXT, she was able to do things like this with Lola, Roxanne Perez. She also did things like this with Isaiah Lee, other people like that as well, where she was able to express herself in that manner. Main roster never gave her the opportunity until now, which I feel like is a good thing for them to do, considering that she's familiar with this person. She knows who she is. It can get personal, knowing the sort of connection it is, which is one of the good things when it comes to rivalries, especially when it's one of those emotional ones, like a mentor figure or whatever happens along the lines of that. Somebody you look up to standing, stabbing you in the back, stuff along the lines of that. It can really help her break out of her shell, because you look at it where it's like, regardless if she says it or not, because she believes she is, and I believe when she says it, there's going to be those casual audience that's just going to look at her as a Becky 2.0. But this is her chance to actually prove how she could be somebody different outside of those consistent comparisons that she gets all the time. So that's the route I could see if Becky takes it, and then eventually it'll go along with what I said. But I could also see Bayley interfering, because it's one of those cliches that WWE does. Whenever they're building up to a match, they constantly nail it in your head when they bring up somebody's name during a promo segment or commentary or whatever the case may be, or if it's like, a little tease on the screen, if it's like some sort of symbol or like some little static thing you see with the Y86, there's always some sort of thing where it's like always up in your face, and then once you get to that point, you're like, okay, I'm waiting for this person to pop up. Oh, look, there they are. So I feel like, Becky can only talk so much shit before she gets her head rocked. So I can only see Bayley retaining I can only see Lyra retaining if Bayley takes place in this to really, just shut Becky up. Because one of the things that I took into that they've been doing is they actually were incorporating real life things into this storyline when it comes to how Bayley views herself as a wrestler. When it came to her on the Chris Van Vliet show, Becky's actually taking that, incorporating that into the storyline to actually add some sort of blend between reality and fiction. So I feel like this could also be something to really benefit Bayley in the wrong one if they decide to, run with it or whatever. But that's one of the things I could definitely see. So I'm going to say Becky. That's what I'm seeing right now. But I will say that Bayley, there is a good 50-50 chance Bayley could show up here as well. Regardless if Lyra loses or wins, post breakdown, she could always come there too.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of where my mind is. It's like this one's the hardest one to really predict, because it could go either way, and honestly, I would be fine either way with it. Because I mean, Lyra's held on to that title since what, January? So she's going on like a 4-month reign with it, and give or take what you will about the actual reign, she's held it for quite a long while and all that. So, Becky taking it, a fresh heel Becky taking it, that would be nice. That'd be cool to see. But yeah, if Bayley comes back, it'll probably be a Lyra victory, unless WWE decides to swerve everybody and be like, oh, here goes Bailey turning heel, but that wouldn't make sense at all.
No.
That's one of those Vince moves where it's just like just to get a pop for a pop.
I don't think I'd like that either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I mean, the idea is there, so I'm sure somebody wants it. Especially like because a lot of people have been criticizing Bailey too. I've noticed, like just earlier today, I saw something from freaking Jonathan Coachman saying
I saw that.
Yeah, like Bailey was boring and blah blah blah, generic, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, first of all, it's one thing to have an opinion, fine, cool, whatever, but like, don't state it as fact because I don't find Bailey boring. If anything, she's one of my favorite horsewomen out of all. Like, yes. She's the most consistent. She's probably the best out of all four of them, and I will die on that hill. I don't care. But see, that's the thing. That's just my opinion with it, But I don't know. Just I wouldn't want her to come back and turn heel, but
no.
And I'm still torn on who would come out of this winning because that's the other thing. Lyra already has a win over Becky. Like, would they make them go 50-50? Like, would they do the 50-50 booking, or would they do the thing like what they did with like Cody and Seth, where Cody was strong the whole feud and went like 3-0 over Seth? Like, could they do the same thing with Lyra and Becky? Like, could Lyra just be the one that Becky just can't beat? So, shoot. Part of me wants to go Lyra. Part of me wants to go with her retaining and maybe continuing this, but at the same time, it's just like Bailey would have to come back though. So, just to be different, I'm gonna say Lyra. I'm gonna go with Lyra retaining, with a Bailey interference, I think. So, we'll just keep it at that. But like again, this one's 50-50. Like it could go either way, and I'd be satisfied. But one thing I'm definitely going to need to be satisfied with, or else again, like I told Drop before we started, we're going to have a bad time come Saturday's post show. We have Gunther taking on Pat McAfee. Now, this feud has been kind of building up for a little bit ever since Gunther shot Pat a mean, dirty look for yeeting on top of the table one night. And it just kind of came to a boil after WrestleMania, when Gunther came out, attacked Michael Cole, and then choked out Pat McAfee. And yeah, Pat wants revenge. Gunther just wants to end Pat McAfee. They had a really good promo back and forth back on Monday. So if you haven't watched that or listened to it, highly recommend going back to that. Because like, say what you want about Pat on like the mic or like in commentary and all that, the man could cut a good promo. Like that promo was really good. But I'm sorry. It's got to be Gunther. Like, sure, Pat's gonna have his hope spots. He'll get a few licks in and all that. That's fine and dandy and all that. But at the end of the day, it has to be Gunther. Because, I'm sorry, if Gunther were to lose to Pat McAfee of all people, I am really gonna have to question the direction of the company. I am really gonna have to question everything about the WWE company at that point, because it's like, what are we doing when we're actually like putting sports entertainment over the quote-unquote sport of it all? But that's a rant for maybe Saturday if that were to happen, but it's got to be Gunther. But go ahead and talk to me, Drop. Who do you think is going to win this one and why?
I'm probably going to say Gunther, because it doesn't really make any sense for Pat McAfee to win this match. Because I would be like you, I'd be wondering exactly like why we're getting Pat McAfee the win. And I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, oh, this is how you're going to set up Gunther and Goldberg, because that match is already set up. So you can get to that match at any point without having Pat McAfee beat Gunther. Like, Gunther doesn't need to go on one of those things like a Cody Rhodes or a Sami Zayn, because those two characters that I just mentioned, they're the kind of wrestlers that are built for adversity, like to have an adversary story. Gunther doesn't need any sort of thing like that. It's meant for baby faces, for one. And then two, I mean, it's just him venting out frustration because he's pissed off about what happened at WrestleMania. So he decided to take out his anger on Pat McAfee. and Michael Cole. So it's like you're gonna have Pat McAfee go in there because he wants to stick up for his friends and everything along the lines of that. I just feel like you just gonna have to, I guess, give him a few hits or whatever, so it's not completely one-sided. But for the most part, you know, this is probably going to be one of those things where it's like Gunther's just going to absolutely wreck him. And this could easily be one of these things where they write McAfee off a little bit if he has to do some sort of like side projects before he returns to television, which is a common thing that happens with him, especially around the summer, if anything ever comes up. So it's like, I'm going to say Gunther because that makes the most sense out of it.
Yeah. And again, if Gunther doesn't win, expect some hostility on this channel come Saturday. Oh man! But with that being said, we have one final match, the main event of Backlash. We have the WWE title on the line. A freshly healed John Cena taking on a babyface Randy Orton for the last time ever. This one's going to be fun, and it's kind of been fun to see what people think is going to happen and all that. And yeah, expect some slow, methodical action from this one, because that's basically what a heel John Cena is, and that's basically what Randy Orton's moveset and style is that slow, methodic pace. I mean, the history between these two kind of speaks for itself. You know, these two have been at odds for the better part of like 15, almost 20 years. Not quite 20 years, more like maybe 18, 15 years range. But they have history. And like, go on the WWE Network, Netflix, or Peacock. I think some stuff's still on there as well. Check out all their old matches. Builds to all those. That's basically your build for this match, and really just Orton trying to, I guess, punch it into John. Why are you being a dick, man? Why are you being like this? This isn't the John Cena. This is a fake John Cena. This is Juan. Well, but let me know, Drop. Who do you think's gonna win this match and why?
I'm gonna say John Cena because I feel like it's too early for him to lose his title straight off the bat. Especially if you're going to put it up against somebody like Randy Orton. Like, could you give him the title? Sure. But at the end of the day, you're not going to blow that whole thing that Cena set up when it comes to all of the appearances and stuff and just end it at Backlash because it doesn't really make any sense to go in that direction. Like, I think at least most people would think that John would come out on top in this match because it doesn't really make sense for him to really talk all this shit and then lose it like that. Because it's different from like another superstar that has a title that has that moment and then they lose the belt maybe a month or so later. But this is John Cena we're talking about, and they want to do something special with him throughout the year. They want to put him up against all these different kinds of people that he's had history with in the past. And I expect Cena to come up on top with this. I don't know exactly how, because he could easily do it himself. He's done it before. But based on this new persona that he has, maybe there's a couple tricks up his sleeve that we're going to be seeing in this match itself, which I definitely see happening. I'm hoping it isn't anything reminiscent of the WrestleMania 41 ending, because if I hear the fucking Travis Scott theme come on during this match, I mean, I'm going to be pissed about that as well.
One more time.
Like I don't want any of that shit happening, because at that point, then you're really starting to piss me off, because you already pissed me off to begin with when it came to how everything came out towards the end of that match. Because it's different when it comes to him winning the thing, but a lot of people were mad how he got there. That was the real issue, how he got there, how the map was laid out for him to get there, because he didn't really have to do any of that to really get to where he needed to be. He's shown many times before he's able to get to point A to point B by himself. So it's like, I'm going to say John Cena, and I do expect a Cody Rhodes return probably after the match. Unless, I'm going to say after the match, because I feel like you're not going to just have Cena come off the air and, you know, just raise the belt, and then you get that little fade in black, and then you head to the press conferences and everything. Like, you're going to have to build something up with that following Friday. And I'm not saying this is Cody entering the title picture, because that's something I see probably in the fall when it comes to that sort of thing. But I definitely feel like, since Cody is advertised for next week's SmackDown, you're not going to just have him show up at the show. Cody's a big superstar. I mean, you didn't just have Roman show up at SummerSlam that one year. Like, I mean, no. Actually, let me rephrase that. You didn't have him just show up that SmackDown and then have him show up the following day. Like, you obviously wanted to save a big moment like that, because holy shit, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns showing up at SummerSlam, that's fucking huge. And Cody's a big enough superstar to have that sort of thing where it's like, okay, Cody Rhodes returns at Backlash, because I was talking about this with Watkins off air. I mean, you're definitely looking at SmackDown where it's a show that desperately needs Cody back on television. And I feel like even if he's not having the belt at this moment, you need to have him on the show in some sort of capacity, because he is a needle mover, just like Roman and Seth and Punk and all these other people that are on the show as well. So that's also another thing I'm expecting to see outside of the winner of this match as well.
Yeah. See, this one I'm torn with as well, because like there's a lot of different ways that John can walk out with the title. And one idea I've seen being thrown out there a lot is the idea, and you might know where I'm going with this, slapping the referee.
Oh, yeah.
Because that happened during a match of John and Randy's, where Randy just goes up to the referee. They had a little bit of a match, but Randy ended up slapping the referee, got disqualified, and even though he lost the match, he still kept the title and all that. So that's one thing that people have been predicting happening, and the reason I wouldn't mind that happening is because of kind of this. I hate saying this because this is kind of the reason I didn't like the ending to WrestleMania. But see, the thing is, that was WrestleMania. This is Backlash. Backlash is kind of a few levels down from WrestleMania. Backlash, having a DQ ending like that, fits very well with the idea that John's trying to do here of, I'm going to ruin pro wrestling. It's like, okay, yeah, give us this really slow, really long that makes us all go to sleep, want us chant boring, and then end it all in a DQ. Like, just that is so deflating. But I mean, for a show like Backlash, for a B show like Backlash, fine, whatever. Granted, it would suck because this is being billed as their last match ever. So I mean, they could do a rematch down the road, maybe at the next event or the event after Money in the Bank. But I could honestly see something happening where John might just get himself DQ'd and still walk out the champion, but losing the match and all that. So there could be a caveat with that. That's kind of why I want to go with Orton via DQ, because like that's a workaround that could have. Because with that, Orton still gets a win because he's gonna be on the roster after this year. Like after John's gone, Orton's still gonna be around for another couple. So he could, run with that a little bit. And plus, it still keeps that title on John in that way. And then after the match, maybe do a post-match beatdown where you kind of, I don't want to say you write Orton off, but at least injure him enough, in kayfabe, obviously. Injure him enough to where he's gone for a bit. And then maybe the SummerSlam rematch. Because we're probably getting John Cody at SummerSlam. Maybe have Randy come back then and kind of help. Because I feel like Cody should do it on his own anyways.
Yeah,
but
he should.
Have Orton get his revenge around then, though. Like it could be like a kind of a Bloodline rules match kind of thing. Not again, not an actual Bloodline rules match because none of them are involved in that. But like something similar where it's like Orton does kind of get his revenge on Cena, but then you could tie that later down the road whenever we get to Randy and Cody feud, because it could be like, oh well, you couldn't beat John Cena on your own. You need Daddy Orton's help for that, So but that's something for like way down the road. That's all fantasy, all that stuff. But I think again, just to have some fun with it, I'm gonna go Randy via DQ. Just because again, like I feel like we might go down that route. This might be a year where we get a lot of, like, deflating main events because of John Cena and all that. And yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with that.
The only thing I have with that is if it were to happen, you gotta have something captivating to end off the show outside of him slapping the referee, like a Cody Rhodes return. If a beatdown happens or whoever else gets involved, then I would be okay with something like that. But you gotta have something to follow up with that, because if it does just end the show with that, I don't know if I would really be happy with that, even if it's just reminisce of what Randy did all those years ago, which I get the whole idea behind that, incorporating Easter eggs and everything. But at the very least, I would want some sort of follow-up to lead into the next show.
Oh, same here. And that's why, like, with Cody coming back at the end of the match, that would make that a little more palatable, if you will. So yeah, that's also, again, kind of like the Lyra match, where it's like that's kind of contingent on if Bayley comes back. The match ending, like, that kind of depends on if Cody's coming back, whether that's, again, palatable or not. But yeah, with that, those are our Backlash predictions, everybody. So, be sure, again, let us know in the comments down below who you think is going to win and all that. If you're here on the live stream, just, let us know in the chat as well. We'll get to those later on as the show goes on. But again, those are all of our predictions for Backlash. We'll be doing content this weekend for Backlash as well. Our normal post-show. I believe we're sidecasting too, so stay tuned tomorrow night on SmackDown post-show for that confirmation. But with all of that being said, let's get into our greater wrestling media. So this segment, for all you new people out there, is used for highlighting any indie promotion we went to, news we wanted to discuss, interesting documentaries or interviews from the week, and anything else in the grand scale of professional wrestling in the world. And usually this is a good chance for us to kind of look at the news and talk about some fun things and all that. I'm going to start us off with our injury corner. So we have a few updates here. Juice Robinson with AEW, he is close to an AEW return, and apparently what they're doing with him, because, like, apparently the other members of the, what was it? Let me bring up this article back up as our things decide to load. Yeah, so the Bang Bang Gang member, I need to consent to something. There we go. Has been out of action since about late November 2024 after breaking his fibula during a Continental Classic match with Will Ospreay. And a report from Fightful Select suggests that Juice has been pretty well healthy for nearly a month, but is awaiting clearance from AEW's medical staff. As such, there's no concrete time frame as to when his in-ring return could take place. So yeah, he was a member of the Bullet Club Gold year with White, and who's also out of action because of his hand. So yeah, I think they're kind of waiting for everybody of the group to be ready to go when it comes to Juice Robinson's return. So I mean that's part of his stuff. And then Tetsuya Naito has another eye surgery going on. It comes from Tokyo Sports, who basically were reporting on this because he was already out for one eye injury. But yeah, he's going to get, I guess, new eyes. Maybe he'll get a shotgun gun or something. But yeah, Naito has had eye issues for several years now, and he's been undergoing several procedures to fix double vision in his right eye before having issues with his left. Naito also confirmed he was set to undergo stem cell treatment on his right knee, with the former LIJ leader's knees having been famously bad for many years. So, yeah, he should be hopefully getting some surgery. I don't think he's going to be coming back because he's gone from New Japan. But yeah, hopefully when he has these surgeries, everything goes well. He heals up fine and all that. But I'm going to bring it over to Up Down with these injury updates. At least these are the ones I've found. Any comments on, these two, their careers, or how they've been healing and all that. If you're excited for mainly Juice Robinson to come back, I guess, because he's part of that Bullet Club Gold and all that on there. But yeah, any thoughts on all?
I mean, I'm hoping the best for both of them. Like, I don't know that much about Tetsuya Naito. I mean, I know of the guy. I'm just not, like, super informed with what he really does, but I'm hoping he has a successful eye surgery, and hopefully Juice Robinson is put in a good spot when he comes back in AEW television.
Yeah, hopefully. as high of a spot as you can on that television show. Next up on our little docket here, contract negotiations is the name of this little segment. Just some contract news and all that. Starting off, of course, Chelsea Green signs a new multi-year deal with WWE. Sorry, not AEW. We're not talking about AEW right now. WWE. And by the way, most of these news comes from Fightful. One coming from a different source as well. So, yeah, Chelsea Green's re-signing with WWE. Thekla, I think I'm saying that right, or Thekla. I don't know. She is all elite now. So, and this was also teased as well on Dynamite. They had like this spider coming down because apparently she's known as like a poison spider. Unfortunately, I don't really watch Josie wrestling, so at least yet, I've thought about starting that here shortly. So yeah, she'll be joining AEW here. We have some new TNA signings in Octagon Jr. and Myla Grace, and WWE signing multiple AAA talents, which we'll get into that one here in a little bit. But with the names I've mentioned here, Drop, are you familiar with any of them? Obviously, we know of Chelsea Green because you pledge our allegiance every single week to our, well, now former United States champion and all that. But any thoughts on the names that maybe their futures with the companies that they're going to be with?
So when it comes to Chelsea Green, I'm happy that she was able to sign a new contract with the company because I didn't really expect her to go anywhere to begin with. So I'm hoping there's some sort of plans in motion for her when it comes to anything she has outside of what she's currently doing right now to really put her up to the next level. Because that was one of the things that I mentioned to begin with when it comes to this mid-card title, is for them to elevate that sort of person that originally had the title to the next level to see how they can really work around there, because she knows how to wrestle. So outside of the whole comedy thing that she has going on, like, she could really show what she's capable of outside of that. So I'm hoping that's something planned in the future. And Thekla, I do know of her. She was in a faction with Julia back in Stardom, and I know they had to split up that faction when Julia was coming up to WWE. And I know Thekla has mentioned several times that she wanted to go to AEW, mainly because of the creative freedom they have over there, because she felt like she would be restricted if she came to WWE based on the sort of things she wanted to do. She was thinking maybe they wouldn't want her to do that based on the sort of plans that they had for her. But judging on what I've been seeing as of recent, it seems like they have some creative freedom there in WWE when it comes to what they want to do. I mean, you can't come up to me with a straight face and say Cody and Roman have things laid out for them. Like, I'm pretty sure both of those guys have a say in what things they want to do when it comes to the sort of directions they want to go down, especially when it comes to performers like that. But that was her decision, you know, not my issue. Octagon Jr. and Myla Grace, good for them coming into TNA, just more names to really add to their division to really help strengthen the roster, especially when it comes to a lot of the recent releases in WWE. You're going to be getting some of those people potentially going there too. And then the AAA talents, when it comes to that, we already knew that WWE acquired them, so just by that, they were already with WWE, just aligning with the AAA thing. And when it comes to Del Rio, I heard when it comes to that he's not signed with them, like, legitimately. He's just a part of that company itself, but more than likely, due to the suspension that we talked about on this show and all of the shenanigans playing out with that, he's more than likely not going to be a part of that company much longer, and they're more than likely going to end up either vacating that title or having, some sort of competition to see who comes out on top with that, because we already have some talents being named who attend that promotion when it comes to whatever they're doing in June. So that could easily be something that they work around with that. And then So yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
Okay. Yeah, the Del Rio signing was it had a lot of people questioning a lot of things. And yeah, because there were some people being like, "Oh, well, this is a quote-unquote legacy contract, because he's technically Triple A's world champion right now." Yeah. So it's like, okay, we kind of have to give them a new contract since we are acquiring them and all that, because now in the late contract, it has to be a WWE contract. But with that being said, yeah, they're probably not going to keep him that long, or if anything, they're going to have him on sort of a probationary period, where it's like, okay, if you start acting out, if you start, throwing chairs at people, spitting on people, you get some stuff about some domestic abuse going out again, you're gone, you're done, kaput, it's over, game over, you lose. Like, it's probably going to be something like that they put into Del Rio's contract, at least, because I don't remember hearing much other issues with anybody else from AAA. It's really just him.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they at least have him under control with that. But yeah, and then our last little thing here, a few of the 90-day non are about to run up here with WWE, because they did have some releases back in February. So people like Cedric Alexander, Carl Anderson, and Gallows, Elektra Lopez, Giovanni Vinci, the Authors of Pain, Isla Dawn, Sonya Deville, Blair Davenport. A lot of their 90-day competes end next week. I know I saw, and this is actually one news story I'll bring up now, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, they're actually going to be going back to New Japan for a bit. I think they're teaming up with the Young Bucks in an 8-man tag against the Bullet Club. So that's going to be something to watch out for when it comes out. But out of these names, because like I'm seeing some of them, like Sonya Deville, I don't know if she's going to do too much in the ring anymore. It doesn't really seem like she does anymore. I mean, if she does, cool, great, awesome. Isla Dawn, she'll probably go out and do something somewhere. Blair Davenport, she would probably... Honestly, Blair, I think, would work really well in a spot like AEW, I think, or maybe even TNA. And it's kind of hard to even recommend TNA because of the working partnership with WWE. But at the same time, it's like, some of these people could go there.
Yeah. She also currently has other things that she's working on, too, that I'm not going to mention on this show.
Yeah. We are fans of her, so fine. Yeah. Cool. Great. Giovanni Vinci could end up in TNA, though. Like, he's one I could see on there.
If I'm being honest, I kind of sort of see him on Ring of Honor. I don't know why.
You know what? That's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout at all. He would do pretty good there. There are rumors that Cedric Alexander is going to be All Elite, so that's probably why they're waiting a whole week to give MJF an answer. So, spoiler alert for when we talk about AEW here in a minute. But yeah, are there any places you see some of these others going? When, I mean, obviously the time for them to compete anywhere else is tomorrow, but any other spots you think these guys and girls would really work out in?
So Cedric Alexander, I feel like that's an easy fit for the Hurt Syndicate. Obviously, we already know where the Good Brothers are going. Authors of Pain, can't really tell you. Isla Dawn, don't know. Sonya Deville, don't really know. Blair, I mean, it's hard to say. She seems like she has a game plan now. And Elektra Lopez, don't really know for her. But Giovanni Vinci, I'll say with, what do you call it, Ring of Honor, if he were to go there and do something.
Yeah. Oh man, but that's a lot of our contract news and all that. What about the rest of our wrestling news or interviews that we've noticed? Well, WWE Evolve finally got some men's and women's titles. So looking at these two things, they're really nice looking belts, I think. But yeah, finally they're getting something to fight for, and we'll crown them eventually. I think, what was it? They're gonna do like a tournament now or something. From what I saw, I wasn't able to really catch much of Evolve.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch Evolve.
It was
for
really just like some other news articles I saw.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch Evolve like ever since episode 2. So I only see clips surfacing online, so I'll have to eventually catch up so we know what's going on with that. But based on what I've seen on the clips, I would assume it's going to be one of those things where you're going to get qualifiers, because I know I saw a clip with Zeta Steel going up to the GM saying that she wants to be put into this, but she mentioned, the manager mentioned, I forgot her name on the top of my head, but she mentioned that she needs to qualify in order to be in it to begin with. So that's probably something that you're going to factor in with that. But it makes sense for them to do something like that, because this is kind of like the pre-NXT before they're on NXT, whenever they have the opportunity to go down, whenever they have the opportunity to go up there. But there's also some people that are not really utilized on NXT that's also a part of this, because I know Nikita Lyons recently got thrown down to Evolve as well, when they said she was going to be there like a good couple days ago or whatever. So that's where things are with that. But I do like the designs of them. I think they look pretty cool just based on the Evolve logo. They definitely have the titles stands out, so I don't really have any issues with that.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I think the dark purple really goes well with like the black and white stripes here. Or the straps, I mean. And plus the logo's really good too. I do like the Evolve logo. You got the old WWE signature just smack dab in the middle of everything. But yeah, these are some nice looking belts, and yeah, it's a good thing that they have something to fight for, because again, these titles aren't going to be on Raw or SmackDown or anything. Kind of the same thing with like the WWE ID titles. Like, these aren't going to be anything you see on like main roster stuff or NXT stuff. Like, it may be NXT, but that's almost a stretch at one point. But yeah, you're not going to see these too often here. So moving on with our news stories, Riley Osborne debunked this unprofessional claim that was going around when he was released last week. So this comes from
here we go.
Who was it? Yeah, oh yeah, great. It's everybody's favorite source for wrestling news, or the Wrestling Observer newsletter or radio. So, Riley Osborne, I'm going to read this article that was written by Cultaholic. Riley Osborne has addressed reports that he didn't want to work with WWE Evolve tapings, a decision which reportedly contributed to his WWE release. Osborne, also known as Josh Terry, was one of 16 talents let go last Friday. It was noted by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer following Osborne's release that his exit wasn't related to his performance on screen, with Brian Alvarez later reporting that Osborne made it clear he didn't want to work on WWE Evolve. And Osborne, since then, denied this was the case, writing on his own Twitter, mind you, quote-unquote, "I worked the first set of Evolve tapings the day after my wife was released." And correct me if I'm wrong, his wife is B. Priestley, also known as Blair Davenport.
Yep.
Okay, alright, just wanted to make sure I was right on that part. Alright, continuing on with the quote. "When I was told by head coach on a phone call that night, I can have it off tomorrow if I need time with my wife, as we had to pull out of the house we were like 2 weeks from closing on. All I had to do was tell him, yeah, I'd like just a day to be with her. I was the first person in that building the next day and was commended on my professionalism. I will not have my work ethic questioned when I was busting my ass off in rehab to return, which I knew the return would have been on Evolve. Not everything you read online is true. And yeah, it goes on to say Osborne worked twice at Evolve tapings in February, losing to Ora Mensa and picking up a win over Javier Bernal. Osborne suffered an injury around this time, and he was out of action when WWE released him. And he has a 30-day non-compete clause, which I think is only for like the NXT talents. Like they have a 30-day compared to like the main roster 90-day.
Yep.
I mean, this is just another one of those in a long line of the Wrestling Observer just trying to stir the pot, trying to push something that's not true.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand why they do this shit, because it's like
I don't either.
You have the same people coming together, like debunking these claims whenever like some sort of thing happens backstage, or if it's something with Cody or Roman or whatever the case may be. Like there's always one of those things where it's like Dave says something and then an hour or two later you have somebody quote tweeting him, actually telling him exactly what's going on. And I don't know, it just makes him look ridiculous when it comes to the sort of things that he says. Like that's why a lot of people toy around with him, because like sure, he had a good start at first, but look at him now. I mean, he's had a really rough year. The only thing you could really give him as of recent is the whole Rock thing, when he said Rock was never going to be involved with Mania. That's the only sort of credit you can give him, because he was one of the very first people that said he wasn't. And he was right, because he just showed up for a couple appearances, and then after that, I mean, Rock didn't do shit, and he tried to hide and pretend that he knew what was going on, but in reality, he wasn't really taking part into anything. So it's like outside of that little breadcrumb, I mean, he's just throwing shit out there and expect it to stick.
Yeah, I just don't get, like, anytime I see a report about like, oh, this person is bad to work with backstage, or oh, the backstage this, like, oh, backstage somebody stepped on Randy Orton's sandwich and now he had a hissy fit backstage throwing chairs at everybody. Immediately when I see that, instead of being like, oh wow, Randy Orton is a man backstage, I immediately look at the source, because 9 times out of 10 the source is the Wrestling Observer. And they love to pull stories like that. And I like, a part of me gets it because it's that whole clickbait thing, but they will deny it every single time because they're just like, oh, our sources, blah, blah. It's just like, I don't give a fuck about your sources. Like, I'm sorry, everybody. I just don't care about who their sources are, because it's obvious that they also like to feed them stuff. Because, like, Meltzer's been wrong about things a lot in the past. Like, yeah, he was right about the Rock thing. Great, awesome. A lot of other times you get debunked by the talent themselves saying, yeah, no, that is, you're wrong. It's very similar. I don't think I put this news story on there either, but it's very similar to what's going on with Hogan right now, where he, like, keeps going on these interviews and just outright lying about things, saying how, like, was Brock's first opponent after his UFC stuff.
The Rock's
or saying, like, I don't understand why they're trying to change history when it's just like, we know this is false.
You
like,
ever
we
heard,
literally.
You ever heard about the ski incident thing he brought up?
Oh shoot, I feel like I've heard that one.
So pretty much what happened is he brought up that he got injured during a ski incident where the ski hit him across the face. If that were to happen to you, you would have been dead on the spot, just based off of the impact alone. Like, you're not going to come out there, like, 5 to 10 minutes later just walking on your feet like everything's fine. Like, you get hit across the face with that machine heading towards you, you're dead. So the fact that he even brought that up and to say, yeah, I got a black eye from a ski incident, no, you didn't. You obviously had some sort of physical altercation with somebody backstage, and you want to cover up with some sort of story like that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like something with Macho Man or whoever else it was around that time that he was really butting heads with that really put him in that predicament.
Oh, you're talking about, this is the WrestleMania, 9 thing with, like, Brett and Yokozuna?
Yeah,
Like when he came out there with the black eye.
Yeah, he blamed it on a ski incident.
That's right. Yeah, it was something with like jet skis or something.
Yep.
But it was actually like apparently the story goes, yeah, it was a man punching him in the face backstage. So, all right, cool, Gray Hogan. You're also a big fan of Benjamin Shelton. Cool, awesome. Yeah, it's just, I mean, be careful what you listen to and read to online and all that. Even here sometimes, because sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we get our things wrong, but we at least own up to it. We at least be like, oh, oops.
We're honest.
You know? Yeah, exactly. And that's why you guys come back here, because we're honest. Liv Morgan, though, is looking to complete her filming, so she's been gone for this past week. I think she's going to be gone next week, too. But she has been filming a new movie called Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, where she plays, I think it was like the president's daughter or something. A bigger role in the movie. Like she plays the damsel in distress, basically. But she's set to return to the United States on May 17th. So that's what, Tuesday? No, that's next week. Yeah, because tomorrow's the 9th. Yeah, so like next Saturday. So, you know, a week after Backlash. So yeah, she'll miss this next coming Raw, and she'll be on the Raw after. So cool, great. She's only had to do 2 weeks of filming. Awesome, fantastic for her. Hopefully the movie turns out fine. Yeah. Any thoughts on this? Like, do you plan on going to see the movie when it comes out, or?
I'll watch a preview. I'll see if it interests me. But I'm that kind of person where I'm like, I'm only invested in certain things. I don't always just watch something just because it happens to be in the movie theater. So we'll see where things go. Like my biggest question really when she comes back is where this tag division is going to go, because there is no women's tag division. I hate to break it to you, but just because you pair two people together doesn't mean there's a tag division. I'm not saying it's the same circumstance of her and Raquel, but one of my biggest questions is, okay, what are we doing with these titles moving forward? Because outside of the women's world picture, which I get that's on a little pause right now on Monday Night Raw, because there really isn't anything we need for Backlash, because there really wasn't any intriguing story with that. They're focusing on the mid-card titles with the ladies, which is a plus, but that's just one of the things I'm hoping when she comes back. Like, okay, what are we going to do with these tag titles? Because a lot of those people that were fighting for them now are gone.
Oh, yeah, there's barely anyone left now to really do it. And, like, it's one thing to put two people together to build up as a tag team.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You got to kind of build them up as a tag team. Like, you can't just be like, oh, Lyra and Bayley, you guys like each other. Be a tag team and all that. Like, it's like, you could start off, like, as friends. Like, take B-Fab and Michin, for example. Like, they started out kind of, like, showing them in the back, like, kind of hanging out and all that, and, like, having each other's backs in, like, singles competition, and then they kind of started doing them in tag teams. Like, that's fine, because, again, you're building them up as a team, you know? Yeah, they're friends and all that, but, like, they're also single stars, too, but they can work as a tag team. Like, that's fine. Again, it's when you throw Bayley and Lyra, like, characters like Bayley and Lyra together, have them just run a gauntlet through all your other tag teams and win, then we start having issues, because it's just like, okay, why is this a thing? Why are we doing this? You know, are you trying to be Cesaro famous? Because you're being Cesaro. You're not being debunked.
Plus, the two people they had for that job are gone. They didn't utilize them well at the main roster at all.
Not at all. And they had potential with Lash Legend and Chikara Jackson. Now half of that team is gone. Broke up the metaphor.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do know is that TNA is apparently in talks with multiple suitors over a TV deal. So TNA are reportedly engaging in discussions with several potential broadcast partners over a TV deal. And this comes from John Alba, who is with what was it? Sorry, everybody. Kind of going back and forth with all of this. He's with Sports Illustrated. He does a lot of other articles that involve wrestling and all. But he goes on to say about this, as I keep going back and forth with my notes, this should be a pretty strong indicator that TNA is heavily shopping its programming right now. I was told earlier this week by multiple sources that there were up to 5 platforms the company was talking with, including streaming options. And this was posted on Alba's Twitter after news of TNA's new blood and blading policy was made known. So, no word on who TNA has been speaking with regarding these broadcast options, but Impact is currently airing on AXS TV in the US, which is owned by TNA owners Anthem, and the promotion also distributes programming and live events on its TNA Plus subscription service. Kind of big news, especially considering, again, they're part with WWE. I'm sure there's some sources within the company that are kind of helping TNA. Hopefully they're helping TNA find their footing on like another broadcast station or even streaming. But I'm gonna throw it out to you. Where would you want to watch TNA wrestling? Like, if it was on streaming somewhere, for example, where would you want to watch?
That's a good question because I know the Peacock deal's running up next year, and I feel like WWE's gonna transition to Netflix. I feel like that would just be the smart move at that point. That way I can cancel Peacock for one and save money, because I just got money taken out of my account today. It used to be like fucking $8. Now I have $12 coming out of my account for Peacock, so yeah, thank you for that. But it's like, I don't know, I mean, I would say Peacock, but I'm not entirely sure like what the sort of direction it would be for that. Just hopefully like a service that's like mainstream, at least, not like some third party that nobody even knows of. Like hopefully like some sort of app that people use, like a Peacock or something along the lines of that. I don't really know, honestly.
Peacock's not a bad option, just because, again, you know, WWE being on the out, slowly transitioning onto Netflix, because, like, I know overseas a lot of the library is being moved over there, and I haven't seen much on their Vault channel on YouTube, but I'm sure they'll upload a few more things there, too. But, yeah, like, Peacock might be the first option I would go with, because Max right now has AEW, and they seem content with that going forward. And I mean, Amazon could do it, but Amazon also likes to charge you out the ass with everything. And I mean, who has Paramount Plus unless it's free with something?
Yeah, because one of the things they need to do a similar thing that WWE does with their PLEs. Like, if they are going to be streaming on an app, just include everything for that purchase. Don't like charge an extra arm and a leg just to pay like $20 for a pay-per-view. Like, nobody does that shit anymore. Why do you think it's working out so well for WWE? Because they're not charging $50 or $60 anymore, like it's the early 2000s or 90s or whatever, where you had to buy a pay-per-view. Nobody does that anymore. Just pay for the service, watch it whenever it comes out, and that's it. That's something I feel like they should do if they want to keep up this rhythm that they have now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But keeping up with the rhythm, keeping up with the rhyme, go ahead, everybody. It's Earthquake time, because his daughter, Joanna Tenta Sowards, is training to become a pro wrestler. So, Tenta, known in WWE as Earthquake, was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, alongside tag partner Fred Ottman, also known as Tugboat. And Joanna was recently appearing on the Kelly Clarkson show. So there's a name I haven't heard in a hot minute. And she talked about the process, explaining, and I quote, "When I was younger, I used to love watching wrestling. When I was 15, I told my dad that I wanted to do what he did. I wanted to become a professional wrestler. After he died, I stopped watching wrestling for almost 17 years. I tuned back in during WrestleMania 39 and remembered why I loved wrestling so much. In June 2024, I decided that even though I was older now, I wanted to learn and train to be a pro wrestler for the joy of it. So I've learned so much about how to trust in my body, to believe in myself, to work hard, but most importantly, and what I sought after, has formed a new and special connection with my dad. And during that last sentence, that is exactly what the quote says to that. So that wasn't just me flubbing on my words and all that. So this is actually kind of cool because, like, when you look at it, she was let's see, 17, 15. That is 32, 39 was 2 years ago. So she's still, oh my gosh, she's the same age as me. She is the same flipping age as me, and she's training to become a wrestler. You know what? That inspires me. I'm going to go ahead and find my nearest wrestling school and learn how to be a pro wrestler. Isn't that great, everybody? No, but seriously, though, this is kind of cool, because, like, she kind of reinvigorated herself, and to think that it was, like, WrestleMania 39 that got her into it, into it again, because that was a really strong card. I mean, you had Rhea Charlotte, you had the IC triple threat with Gunther, Sheamus, Drew. Even though you had, I got that right. You had Cody versus Roman 1, which, it ended the way it did, but seeing the end point of that kind of made up for it. The tag title match main event during night 1, like a strong pay-per-view to really reinvigorate and inspire someone to want to become a wrestler and all that. And just seeing the age too, like, I know age shouldn't be a thing, but it's kind of reminiscent of DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, when he became a wrestler. Like, he started training when he was like 32, 33, and it took him a couple years to get to the level that he ended up at in WCW. So, I don't know, it's just somewhat inspiring to just see somebody at that age want to even train, even just for the love of it. Because, like, I think that's one thing I take away from the quote here is, I wanted to learn and train to be a pro wrestler for the joy of it. Like, it doesn't seem like she's looking for a career in it, but she's really, I guess, understanding her dad's career and, like, the things that he had to do and the way he put his body through all those years to even give her a life to really live up to. And but any thoughts on the daughter of Earthquake training to be a pro wrestler?
I wish her the best. I mean, that's all I can really say. Like, if she's willing to, do some sort of thing, I mean, that's awesome. So hopefully things go good for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
This seems...
but from one female talent to another, again, sources are everything. So, this was said by Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live that WWE are interested in bringing back 3-time women's champion and MMA megastar Ronda Rousey. Yeah, like, however, whether Ronda would be interested herself is unknown. And Shayna Baszler, a close friend, tag partner, and opponent of Ronda, was recently released by WWE, and this led to Alvarez explaining, and I quote from Alvarez, WWE does still want to do something with Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler obviously retired Ronda Rousey, or at least her last match in WWE, so I could not say that there's no chance we'll never see Shayna Baszler again. I cannot say we'll never see Shayna again, because if WWE makes a deal with Ronda, and she'll be back. That might be the only reason Ronda Rousey back in WWE is to bring Shayna Baszler back. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm good off of that. Yeah, I don't need any more Ronda.
That's counterproductive if you think about it, because it's like, why release somebody and have them being brought back? Especially if Shayna makes a decision to go elsewhere in 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, for all we know, she could be doing Bloodsport, whatever, doing things on the indies. She can go to AEW, do her thing over there. She can go to TNA, etc., so on. Whatever sort of thing that she wants to do for her professional wrestling career. Like, if she makes a decision around that point, then I don't really see the point of Ronda Rousey coming back. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really see why this is even a topic of conversation, because this is one of those things that we mentioned earlier about the clickbait titles and things along the lines of that. Like, this is something that me and you could easily come up with and be like, you know what? Let's think of some bullshit to throw out there for the day to have people, really stir up like some sort of uproar. So I don't know if I don't know if I'm buying this. I don't think, at least from my perspective, I don't think WWE is interested in bringing back Ronda Rousey, especially with the current regime they're in right now and the sort of environment that they're in. I don't really see what she would really be bringing to the table. Like, they already have people in NXT. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but we have things currently going on with actually, I'll save that thought for later when it comes to a certain person's whereabouts. But also, you had all the releases, you had all these rumored names be coming in, like a Mariah May, that I am pretty confident that she's more than likely coming over. So it's like, I don't really see the whole benefit of having Ronda Rousey. Nothing against her as an individual, but it's like, I don't see the point. It just seems really counterproductive. It's like, WWE might want to do something with Ronda again and then bring Shayna back. So what are you going to do? You're going to pluck, let's say Shayna signed a 3-year contract of AEW. You're going to pluck her from that company just because Ronda's back or whatever. Like, I don't see it, because it didn't really work. It did good at first, and I say good. It did good at first at the first run. The second run, like, was very stale for Ronda. I will come out there and say that. But I feel like based on where they are right now, and this is like a common thing that a lot of people say, when someone's gone for so long, the division evolves, or once they come back in that sort of environment, they're so far behind it because they're not keeping up with everybody else that's progressed since they last been there. So, so to me, I don't see the point, if I'm being honest. Nothing against her, I just don't see the point.
I don't either, especially after comments she made when she recently left the company about the fans and all that. Like, she barely handled the fans at that. So I'm good off Ronda. I'm Ronda'd out. I don't think really she wants to come back. No. If she did come back to wrestling, honestly, wherever Shayna ends up, Ronda might show up there. If, like you brought up AEW, if Shayna ends up at AEW, guess what? Ronda's probably going to be able to once.
Yeah, Tony has
I think
the
it was
money.
Ring of Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony has the money.
Tony has, like, shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Man. It's good. It's a good thing Tony has a lot of money, because Elon also has a lot of money since he bought Twitter. But unfortunately, that money did not do too well to help keep some people's accounts safe from hackers. Because AJ Styles, earlier this week, his Twitter/X account was hacked.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we have the reason how it was. Oh my gosh, did you see some of the tweets coming out? It was crazy.
Yeah, I won't repeat any of them.
Like crypto shit.
Yeah, I won't repeat any of them. I won't repeat any of them because there was some pretty fucked up shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, some of it was really messed up. But yeah, so on a video posted to AJ's Instagram page, AJ Styles explained how another person was able to hack his account. And he's saying, quote, "My Twitter has been hacked. If you didn't know, it's some crazy stuff. I was able to pull it up on my wife's phone because I'm unable to get into my Twitter account. They stole my SIM card. Somebody allowed that at AT&T. But I got another guy working on it. Some idiot, some moron stole my phone and was able to hack Twitter." So all of this because AJ's SIM card was swapped out in some sort of scam, and the hackers target things like two-factor authentication, steal identities. The posts luckily have been taken down from AJ's Twitter, but it's kind of funny. Well, I guess I shouldn't say funny because it's not funny to have something like that taken from you. But at least the reason I say it's funny is because, like, I think of 2025 and, like, wow, I didn't realize phones still had SIM cards, I guess, because I haven't really had to use a SIM card in, like, God, probably 10 years. Yeah, it's been about, like, 10 years since I've had to worry about a SIM card. So I guess that part just kind of takes me on, like, oh, it was from a simple thing like that, that sucks. But hey, I guess don't use AT&T anymore, people, because they just will get rid of your get rid of your SIM card or steal it and take your identity. I guess I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Like, I think it's on one hand it's kind of funny, but again, I'm glad he didn't get anything else stolen from him.
Yeah, I mean, it caught me off guard when I first saw it. Like, I already knew it wasn't him straight off the bat because he doesn't type, like, especially what I brought up before, like, the kind of stuff that he was saying was, like, some very explicit content that I'm not going to repeat on this show because it's very fucked up stuff that was being said on that account. But it's just basically one of those things. Yeah. Like, it's something that actually happened on my Discord server earlier, even before we started this podcast, where it's like you have people wanting to get onto your account or wanting to interact with other people just because they want to trick you into something when it comes to crypto, or hey, I'm earned $2,000 daily. If you talk to me, I can help you get down the exact same route as I am. Like, no, nobody's buying your shit. Like, you're full of shit. So it's like nobody's gonna be walking down that route with you. Like, if I want to earn my money, I want to work for it because it feels earned if I bust my ass off getting to where I am, rather than just having a little cheat code handed to me, be like, oh, here you go. Like, sure, in video games that work, but real life, no. I don't want to put myself in that predicament where I look like a loser doing that sort of thing. So with the fact that the person was like sending links and stuff, so not only are they affecting AJ's account, now they're having other people, because there is some people out there that will click on it, where they click on it, okay, I can get into your phone now, I can, you know, because I know there's like a certain thing where it's called like some sort of thing where it's like you touch a certain button, now they have access to your passwords and stuff like that, where they're able to get into your account, which is actually what happened to my previous Discord account, where somebody messed it up and everything, and I really wasn't able to get back on it, and now it's been a year since I've been on there. So it's like you got to be really careful when it comes to these sort of things. So it's like when I saw it initially, I was like, yeah, I know AJ's hacked, and I know this isn't the first time it's happened, which I was thinking in my head, like, is this like an Android thing? Are the Androids the one that have the SIM card still? Or I don't know, because I know that I don't think the iPhones do. You must have
iPhones used to.
Okay.
Like I think it depends on the phone company you use. Yeah. Because last I heard, I think AT&T is like the last company that still has SIM cards.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, again, yeah, I think like that. Don't fully quote me on that one, but because that's the thing. Again, I haven't really had to worry about a SIM card almost 10 years, and that's when my family switched over to Sprint from AT&T actually. So you know, there's that. Yeah, it just sucks, but again, I'm glad it was only his Twitter and not anything else. Because at first, because like some of the first tweets I saw from it was like the crypto things. There were mentions about like Logan Paul, for example.
Oh yeah, I saw
that. I mean, so like that's why at first I thought it was like Logan trying to continue their feud a little bit, or like just, you know, kind of being a dick, quote unquote. So I thought it was gonna like be that, but then some of the other tweets started coming out, and you're like, okay, wait, no, this is a legit hacking. Okay, all right, cool, great, thanks a lot. Because hey, you got to make sure you protect your identity in any way you can, especially as a wrestler. And the best way to do that as a wrestler, make sure you trademark your name. And our latest little story here with trademarks and the world of wrestling. Yeah, Wardlow actually filed to trademark his name, and from the reports that you could see for trademarks and all that, it was for like entertainment purposes, for like wrestling and all that. It was a lot of the reasons that like WWE or AEW go to trademark certain names and all. So it's led a lot of people to believe that, okay, is Wardlow just trying to protect his name? Or is there something deeper here? Because most of the time when people start doing this, like AJ Styles, for example, I'm pretty sure he has his name trademarked, you know, as AJ Styles. Like, that's usually something that they do to try to keep that name, especially if they're trying to go other places. And, I mean, we haven't seen Wardlow in a while. The people keep saying that he's recovering from some undisclosed injury, which I call shenanigans on is like,
Yeah.
why are we not hearing any of this?
Hey,
For other people, we hear like for like Tama Tonga, for example, it was what, his shoulder or arm or something. We at least knew about that, you know. I don't know. It stinks. It kind of reeks. And honestly, I along with probably a lot of other people want him out of that company and in somewhere like WWE or TNA where I think he would thrive. And you know, especially WWE, like put him on NXT. There's your contender for me right there. Like, imagine that kind of feud going forward.
Yeah, the division definitely needs it, especially if they're gonna like bring certain people up or whatever. But yeah, I feel like it could be one of those things where it's like he's trademarking his name so he has it whenever he heads somewhere else. Because one of the things I have noticed when it comes to big men is he falls into that category as like a big guy when you put him against another big guy, like a Samoa Joe, for example. I feel like when it comes to AEW, and this is just my opinion on it, a lot of other people might feel different when I say this. I don't think they have the best of luck when it comes to booking big guys outside of a Samoa Joe.
No.
Because you look at the other big guys that they have there, like a Powerhouse Hobbs, like what is he really doing right now? And the same thing with Wardlow. Whenever you try to involve him with some sort of storyline, like you did the whole thing with Adam Cole, or you know whatever happened beyond things in general with Wardlow, like where does he go? Like he's there 1 second, then he's gone the next. It's like, well, what's really going on here? Like I can't even begin to tell you the last time that I saw Wardlow on AEW television. So it almost tells me, like, if this guy wants to book it, go somewhere else and actually make a living because he's 37 years old. So the deadline's kind of like, you know, the mid-40s or so before a lot of wrestlers that are males around that age really start wrapping things up. So if you really want to make some sort of impact, any sort of way, it's best to really get things moving right now because he can only do so much. Because it said his debut was like in 2014, so he's been wrestling for 11 years. So if you really want to do something with himself, because I do see a lot in him, where I'm not saying he could become like this this Cody status person. I'm not saying anything like this because that's 1 in a million when it comes to people like that. I'm saying if he wants to become like a Bronson Reed, the way that he's being built up, or you know things treading down that route, I feel like he could easily go into WWE, maybe do something in NXT for a little bit, not super long like the rest of the guys, but something for like a little bit, maybe 6 months tops, and then he transitions to the main roster and he gets involved with whatever's going on over there. I can easily see because they do book big men very well over there in WWE when it comes to a Bronson Reed, when it comes to a Jacob Fatu, if you want to include him in that category, if you Braun Strowman as well when he was with the company, and other people as well. Like, Rusev, I could see getting put very well. So it's like people like that. I feel like if you want to mash them up in there, it could help him out. But that is a smart marketing strategy because you don't want to being known as like some Joe Smo sort of name. Like if you want to be known as Wardlow, which I feel like is a pretty cool name, there you go.
Yeah, no, we're kind of in the same mindset. Just wherever Wardlow feels like he will thrive, I want him there. Yeah. And I think with his style too, being, you know, a big man, like he doesn't do too many crazy moves, but I think he does bust out, you know, a few things here and there. But I think his style could lead him to have like a good longer career in WWE, you know? Like, you know, you had brought out the 40s, people down. Yeah, I could see him being in there until around then, 47, when it start dialing it back a bit. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Wardlow here in the future. Hopefully, whatever he wants to do, more power to him. But speaking of dialing, you know, you could always get on your phone and dial a certain number to talk to somebody who is a CEO, or at least CEO of himself. Because for $100, For 100 smackaroos, if you are the biggest fans of Mercedes Moné, you can pay her $100 to text her on a phone that she has. It's not her personal phone, mind you, but a phone that she has that she's going to be using to talk to her fans. You get to pay $100 to talk to Mercedes Moné. A lot to kind of dissect with this one, because like there are people out there that will pay $100, and you know what? Some of them I bet are genuine fans of Mercedes. Good on you. I'm glad you guys are fans of Mercedes Moné. That's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
There are also the fans or the people out there that will pay $100 to send whatever they want to this. Now, Mercedes has claimed that she's gonna be using this phone. Like, it will actually be her. But guess what, people? It more than likely is not. Because, like, I doubt she's gonna be sitting there on her phone responding to everybody. And especially with some of the things that some of you out there will probably send her. Yeah. She's definitely not gonna be on that phone. And I doubt this thing's gonna last that long too, because that thing is gonna be exploding with messages, and people also probably trying to call her and all. Like,
that's dangerous.
This is a risky thing to do.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. I don't know. More power to anybody who pays $100 to Mercedes for that.
Yeah, I'd rather put that towards groceries.
Glad you have money. Do what?
But even if we had money, like doing what we do now, I would never put it towards something like that. Because it's like the way I look at it is you get that one little interaction with somebody online. Like there was one time where I think I wished Lyra a happy birthday or whatever, and she liked it. Things like that, that's fine. It's like, okay, you know, she saw that I wished her a happy birthday or whatever. Nothing super crazy, just being supportive, just being nice and everything. And did the same thing with EO today, because today's EO's birthday.
Oh, so keep going.
So it's like one little thing like that, that's fine. But it's like, I'm not gonna pay $100 out of my own pocket to message somebody, which more than likely either is gonna be run by a bot or it's gonna be run by like multiple people that are taking part in this new project that's going on. Like, I don't even see why it's a thing to begin with, because you have your own little thing going on right now. Like, why is that even a thing? It's like when it comes to the little meet and greets at like these little conventions or whatever, there's your opportunity right there. You pay the money to get into the convention, and then you pay your money to get a picture or an autograph from the person. So it's like you don't need to go the extra mile when it comes to, you know, doing something like this. I think $100, especially when $100 should go through groceries, gas, or if you have certain bills that you need to pay or whatever, that's more beneficial instead of paying $100 to text somebody that you're more than likely not texting. Because I know for a damn fact, just like you said, that she is not legitimately texting this because, for one, she's busy, she's doing other things, she's got to prepare for pay-per-views, she got to prepare for her matches, whatever goes on in Dynamite or Collision or everything along the lines of that, whatever sort of regular routine that she has when it comes to AEW, or if it's like outside things, doing things with friends, going out to eat, getting new outfits, spending money like that, spending some time with her dogs. I know she has corgis. So it's like, I don't expect her in the slightest to really be behind this thing, and I don't expect it to be running for long. Like,
no.
I'm going to say a month tops. I don't even want to say that because I feel like it should only be a week, or maybe even a week.
Yeah, I give it a week.
That's stupid. And I feel it's going to be more comical for the people that actually do it.
Yeah, dude, it just screams.
Blows my mind.
It screams like premium Snapchat, OnlyFans kind of content. It's just like, you can actually talk to me on this site. It's like, No, you're not. No,
That's
you're
actually what
not.
it sounds like.
Not actually. Yeah, like it's.
Might as well just do that.
No, I don't like it. Is Tony not paying you enough? Like, is that the thing?
Yeah.
Did he cut some of your allowance? Like,
she's regardless how you
gosh.
feel about her, she's a pretty big talent, so he should be paying her.
yeah, he better be paying her good. Oh man, but we're gonna end off our
This is great.
greater wrestling media with a bit of tribalism for one Will Ospreay. And he was in an interview with Daily Star. I didn't get to listen to all of it. It is about like 26 minutes, so
okay.
you know, I'm sure there are other things said on that interview. But Will Ospreay did have a few things to say regarding WWE. For one, he says that he doesn't really enjoy WWE, and his quote that he said during this interview: "WWE are on fire now. But like I still as not sorry, the quote's a little funky. But like I still as not only a viewer, but as a wrestler, I just don't enjoy it. I haven't watched WrestleMania. What I've heard is it wasn't the best Mania. Maybe like Io, Rhea, and Bianca were the only sick match on there, which 3 of them are the best wrestlers, period. Thank you for shouting them out, by the way, Will. But for me, I just never was a WWE guy. I respect it and the guys doing it. That schedule is crazy, and I commend more doing it. I just didn't like it. Don't like the show, don't like the style of wrestling, don't like the presentation. It got better, I like the one-shots they've been doing. I just never been a big fan of it, so that's why when AEW came along and they went with like the sports-based style of it, it was something I could sink my teeth in. So, this part of the quote already, I think is fine. Because it's just him basically saying, hey, WWE is not really my style. It's not really my thing. I respect everybody that is willing to do it and willing to do that schedule. It's not me. It's not Will Ospreay. So, there I could understand. I could get. It's when he starts continuing to talk. Because he had another quote from this article, from this interview, where he says, "The moment the bell rings, AEW is better than WWE." And I quote, "A lot of people think I hate Triple H, and I really don't. I've never met the guy before in my life. But for me, there's always this little bit of rivalry where I'll just be like, yeah, you guys are the biggest. Yeah, you guys draw the biggest houses. Yeah, you guys have got the bigger deals. But the moment the bell rings, I think we're better than a lot of them." And he went on to say throughout the interview that not a lot of the WWE stars can really wrestle as good as a lot of people in AEW. And again, I get the mindset he's going with, because there are times, and I said this drop 2 before we started tonight, there are times where I'm just like, man, I wish some WWE matches could be more like AEW, like sometimes with like the physicality, for example, sometimes with like there are some in-ring storytelling that AEW does really well above WWE, but vice versa too. WWE does some things that are even better than AEW. I don't know, man. It's comments like these that really just kind of bother me, because it's like, why are we continuing down this road of tribalism? Because like he's got to know, he's got to have some sort of like, what's the term I'm looking for?
Pretty weird.
He's got to know that like how fans can get, especially with tribalism just being as it is since AEW's inception. It's like people are going to be latching on to, and the arguments are just going to continue and just keep going and going, and like even getting worse now, because it's just like this is just one of those things where you've heard this before, and it's like, yeah, I get it. However, these are 2 different companies doing 2 different things. They have 2 different styles. Like, if you don't like one, you have the other. If you want more of one thing, you get it from the other place and all that. Like, it just boggles my mind how it's like, yeah, we don't want to be toxic or tribalistic, but we're going to make these comments like this. And it's like, okay, well, you're basically feeding into that crowd. But again, like, I get it where it's just like, it might not be your thing, your style, but like, really, at almost any interview he has, something comes up about WWE, and I just don't understand why he can't just let it go.
Yeah, that's actually a video I need to check out later, because I know JD actually covered this, saying, I think the title of the video is like Will Ospreay's obsession of WWE. I think essentially meaning by that as like it's always happens to be the topic of conversation. Yeah, it says that on the thumbnail. Ospreay obsessed with WWE. So it's like it comes off that he's kind of obsessive, and only because he constantly brings it up. Like, I don't know if it's the interviewers that are asking him these questions, or he's just bringing it up himself. Because it always seems like whenever I see some sort of report on Will Ospreay, and this isn't me calling him out or anything when it comes to the kind of wrestler he is, because I do think he's a great wrestler, but it's just something I've noticed where it's like whenever I see a report that we talk about, or if it's something that I happen to stumble across online myself, it's always something about WWE. And it's fine to feel a certain way about a different promotion. Like, if you're happy where you are, that's fine. Just talk about all the greatness there. Like, what was the whole point of the comment where it's like, but the moment the bell rings, I think we're better than all of them. Like, what's the point of that? Like, what's the point of that little line? Like, there's nothing wrong feeling like, you're the top dog and you're a great wrestler or anything if you really want to have that sort of ego in wrestling, because that's a whole part of the character to begin with. You want to feel that way about yourself and everything, but I kind of feel like that's a little disrespectful, because there is a lot of people on there that do great things. Like, I'll name a couple of them. You got somebody like AJ Styles, which is known to be a great wrestler. And you got somebody like, let's throw another one in here when it comes to like the women's division. You got people like a Becky Lynch, Asuka, Bianca Belair, Rhea, and Io that he mentioned as well. You even have people that are being built up for the future, like a Braun Breaker that's already in a role right now of Seth Rollins, who's known to be one of the greatest out there as well. And then you got the leader of the pack, where it's like Cody, Roman, the rest of the guys. You have Ilya Dragunov, Gunther, which is known to always put on a show whenever he gets involved in a match. So it's like, if I ever saw Gunther in an AEW ring, not saying he's going to go there, I can see him dominating there. He's just known to be that kind of wrestler. He doesn't have to do a whole bunch of flips or anything. He's known as the ring general. You throw him in the ring with somebody, he's gonna give you a wrestling match. He is the clear definition of a wrestling match. So it's like there's a lot of people there. Jacob Fatu, which is another incredible wrestler as well. He's not even he can be where he needs to be, trust me. But we're slowly getting there. But there's a lot of people there that have that sort of flair with them that really makes them stand out outside of the people that I mentioned, because I'm pretty sure there's other names even outside of, WWE. So it's like, I don't understand that. It's like, when can we ever go away from this? Like, why is this always a topic of conversation? Like, just talk about your whole journey with AEW, or like sort of matchups that you want to have, or like he brought up before, how he wants to be like, the face of that division and everything. Which that dream could very well come true at All In if he ends up dethroning Moxley and really leading the charge there. Maybe this is Tony's direction, really put him on that pedestal to really lead the charge when it comes to, being in control of that army in AEW. So it's like, I don't get the whole point of like that sort of thing. Because I could throw Io in there and I can expect her to put on a great match, even against the guy, which she has done before with Penta and Lucha Underground and other people that she came in contact. Like, you put if you had an intergender match of her and Will Ospreay, I'm pretty sure it'd be one of the greatest matches in the fucking world. So it's like, I don't know, man, it's just weird.
That's the thing. And like, I'm glad you brought up the thing, like, okay, is it interviewers doing this, or is this Ospreay doing this? And if it's the interviews doing this, then please, I beg some of you to just come up with better questions. I get it. Clickbait this, clickbait that. I gotta get my podcast or my interview trending. So hey, let's ask Will Ospreay about WWE for the nth time. like, I'm sure the guy's even tired of bringing it up too. You know, because I mean, the statement he kind of says here, I mean, it's not too far from what he's said in the past. But I mean, just be like, hey, can you ask me something different? Because I'm tired of talking about this. It's in the past. I'm done. Like, I want to move on. I'm in AEW doing better things. At least better for me things. You know?
And I've seen people do that before where when they're in the middle of an interview and they're like, listen, I don't want to talk about this. Like, let's talk about something else. Like, I've seen people legitimately do that even live when they post the clip as well. Like, let's tread, away from this and talk about something else. So he could very well do that.
Yeah, just start doing that, I guess. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our news coverages and all of those fun little things. We're going to transition now to our final big segments here, the Turnbuckle Tidbits. This is the part of the show where we talk about both NXT and AEW Dynamite, the good, the bad, and the mediocre at best. And when it comes to AEW Dynamite, mediocre at best is probably the best way I could describe this past Dynamite. It was all right. A couple standout things here and there that I'll mention here, but Dynamite this week took place at the Masonic Temple Theater in Detroit, Michigan. So already a decent crowd here in Detroit. Started off the night with Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay facing off. They are in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. And, the winner gets a title shot at All In. And Hangman comes out here. First of all, this is probably one of the strongest segments of the night. So already we're starting off pretty hot with Dynamite. Hangman, basically, he's looking for redemption. And he's questioning why people are cheering him, all that stuff. Like, he's going through his redemption here. When Will Ospreay comes out here, he acknowledges Hangman and going through all. But he makes it clear, hey, this is not about your redemption anymore. This is about my ascension. So I love that kind of play on where, like, we have two stories here, two just, like, intertwining stories of, like, redemption, ascension. One wants to be better than he was, and one just wants to prove why he's the best. Like, this is... It's segments like this and moments like this that make me really like tournaments. Because you could get these kind of stories through a tournament like this. And it enhances not only the tournament itself, but even just the match itself going into the finals. Because, like, this could go either way, because, I mean, I'm leaning more towards Will Ospreay winning. But, I mean, it really could go either way. Because, like, if Hangman Adam Page were to win, him versus Mox at All In, I mean, that's, I don't want to say the end of the redemption, but it's a big, just like big win for Adam Page to kind of realize, to kind of come around and be like, okay, you know what? I am on the right path now. I can be a better person. I can move forward, because he even stated in his promo here, he's leaving Swerve in the dust. He's leaving him back and all that. Yeah, but freaking Don Callis has to come out here to insert himself in things that he really shouldn't be a part of, but whatever, he doesn't like Will Ospreay and Hangman, and he challenges them to a tag team match next week. We find out it's against Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita. So they're going to have a tag match because Don Callis is like, oh, you guys can't even get through the promo segment without trying to fight each other, blah, blah, blah. Which... I want to reiterate, Don, have you've been in the wrestling business for how long? You know how these promo segments go. You know how just about every promo segment goes. Of course, both parties are going to want to come to blows. Like, no shit. But whatever, besides the point. Again, I thought this was one of the stronger segments of the night. But this is actually one I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on, Drop, if you have any regarding like the finals of the men's and if you've been keeping up just with the tournament itself and like these two guys and their stories going forward.
I didn't catch anything on Dynamite this week, so I'll have to watch JD's review to get like the full recap at work tomorrow. So probably once I have this conversation with you again, I could probably give you a better answer. I don't want to just go off the cup when it comes to clips I've seen or whatever, but based on what I discussed before when we were talking about this whole thing with the actually we were just talking about it before we started the coverage for AEW. I will say that one comment I can make outside of what happened on the show, I feel like they did make a good decision when it comes to the two guys heading into the finals, because it does make it unpredictable, because it could go either way. And that's one of the things I really do like about this, is the fact that it is unpredictable, where it's like Will Ospreay could win this match, go to All In, get the big moment that I'm pretty sure Tony wants to do with him anyway, because definitely if I were to choose one point to crown Ospreay as a world champion, that would be a moment. It's almost like when Cody won it at a Mania. This is their Mania. I feel like that would be a pretty good moment for him if you were to do that. Plus, you know, him leading the charge as champion would just do good things for that title to begin with, because we don't even know what that title looks like at this point, because it's just been
in a briefcase
hidden away for so long. And also, you know, Hangman Page could really do it. He could be the cowboy and really bring it home there and really set things back on track again, because he was actually my pick originally to actually dethrone Danielson last year, because I felt like he could have used that momentum after that cage match he had with Strickland to lead that into a match with Danielson and to win it off there, because I feel like if you were to head down that direction, it probably would have been a lot better than where we are now. Plus, you could very well still have it now, and then you could have had Hangman and Ospreay at the All In Texas event. So
yeah, could have. You could have had that, but instead we got what we got, unfortunately. I would say if you were to watch any segment from Dynamite, I would recommend this one. It was pretty good. Right. So that would be one I would say definitely try to look up. We had a little bit of setup for Collision. FTR and Stokely Hathaway threatened Tony Schiavone because they're bad guys now, and they accept Daniel Garcia's challenge for a match at Collision against one of the two members of FTR. Cool, neat. Fantastic. Chris Statlander tries to talk to Willow, trying to mend that bridge, but Willow's like, we're done kind of talking, but if you want to have a match tomorrow night, well, I guess right now, the Collision actually happened tonight. Fun fact. Yeah, they had a match tonight, so however that went, find out on Twitter here in a minute. And Don Callis' family calls out the Outrunners for a team match.
That was smart they had it.
Coolio. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's Saturday.
But our next match... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I said it's smart that they did it tonight, because you know what's on Saturday normally.
Oh, yeah. No, they were... Good idea, Tony, to move it, you know? Yeah. I think there might be something else happening on TBS or TNT, but again, I don't really watch cable anymore, so
no, I don't either.
There's that aspect. Oh, man. But... how much do you like championship eliminators? Because not only do we have one, but it's a fatal four-way one. Tony Storm.
I could have sworn we just got this last week, right? Wasn't it her and was it Lady Frost? Or
it was either last week or the week before. Or no, she defended her title in Collision this past weekend.
Oh.
But yeah, it was fairly recently that she did have a championship eliminator. But no, not only are we getting another one, but it's a fatal four-way one that Tony Storm still wins. So she still doesn't really have a contender until All In.
Wait. Holy shit. Hold on.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm on Cage Match because I know Vash normally uses this. And it says on April 23rd, 2025, she had a world title eliminator against Queen Aminata, and she defeated her. Then on the 30th of Dynamite, she had an eliminator match against Miyu Yamashita. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. I know people have been up my ass about that today.
That was just last week.
Yeah. And then on May 3rd, 2025, they had another World Title Eliminator where Toni Storm defeated Lady Frost by referee's decision on Collision. And then the Dynamite this past Wednesday, like you said, was another eliminator where she was going up against Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, and Thunder Rosa. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
I guess Tony's just gonna defeat everybody until dropping the title at All In to more than likely Mercedes. But
Yeah.
okay. Well, besides Logic being part of this, the match was fun.
Oh yeah.
The match itself was fun. I mean, again, that's par for the course when it comes to AEW. There was some interference near the end from like Megan Bayne and Harley Cameron because you know they're aligned with people like Anna Jay and Ford in the match, and Ford ended up tapping out to the crossface chicken wing. Kind of fun to see that move end a match in our year of 2025, but yeah, Logic out the door. I mean, the match was fun. Look at the dangly keys and all that. Fun, isn't it? God, I didn't realize. Oh my gosh, I didn't put it all together. Literally, this was like the 4th one in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
In like 3 weeks, dude.
I'm like
2
different shows.
One of them was a fatal 4-way. Like, they're just okay. All right, fine.
Definitely
But
seems
hey,
kind of
match
obvious
was
who
good.
the title's going to now.
Yeah.
They don't really have
I'm not a
anyone
fan of
lined
that.
up for that.
Nope. I mean, again, she keeps running through these challengers. Like,
Yeah,
there's not going to be anybody to challenge. She just beat Megan Bayne, and
I don't even know
I
what's
don't
going
want
on
to get
with
into
her.
that tangent.
It's like the one thing
Yeah.
I will say about her is I feel like she shouldn't even involve herself in matches right now. Like, sure, she's the champion, and sure, there's some people out there that like seeing her on television taking part in these matches and everything. But it's like, it's gonna come to a point where she wants to put herself in the middle between this thing of with Mercedes
Mm-hmm.
and Jamie Hayter. She could very well do that to really build upon that when it comes to the both of them. That's what I would have done instead of these matches that we're getting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, hell, like, have her be more involved with the final right there. Like, granted, you know, not physically, but, like, have her being, like, the onlooker. Hell, you could literally do a thing. I mean, with her gimmick and all that, and I know, Tony, you have the money to do something like that. Trust me. You could do, like, have a balcony kind of thing where she's, like, sitting up there. Maybe they do this for the finals, too. Like, she's sitting up there with, like, the opera binoculars and all that.
Yeah.
Looking on, like, it could be something like that. It could do just like having her being present for the final of that, because that's something different than what the men's finals doing.
Yeah.
But man, 4 eliminator matches, that's crazy. Whatever. Not much more going on with like the Hurt Syndicate and MJF. Mainly because the Hurt Syndicate come out, they're looking for new challengers and all that. You had Crew come out, which was Leo Rush and Action Andretti. They were in the crowd, but they were just kind of on. While Top Flight come out, cut a promo being like, hey, you know what? We may be underdogs, but a miracle can happen. And then they immediately get jobbed out by MJF coming out and hurting them. And we'll find out next week on if MJF's part of the Hurt Syndicate or not.
Yeah.
It might just be a swerve just to wait for Cedric Alexander to be
I
ready.
feel like that's what they're doing, especially since the 90 days is over and done with today. Because I saw that came out today that it's all up today. They can do whatever they want now. So I feel like that might be the plan, where it's like they might swerve him and to be like, yeah, you're gonna do it, but then that's when Cedric comes in.
Exactly. Maybe Cedric comes in and hurts MJF. There you go. There's your initiation, Cedric.
There you go.
The ROH TV title was put on the line as Nick Wayne defended and defeated Rhino in like a 5-minute match. A very short match. Even the crowd was saying F this shit. Like, they were not having it. Because, like, the match just kind of ended at a point.
Yeah.
After a very, like, kind of ugly Unprettier.
Oh, who does the Unprettier?
But you might
Nick Wayne does the Unprettier?
Do what?
Is that Nick Wayne's
finisher?
Oh,
excuse me, sorry. Kill Switch is, I guess.
Oh, okay.
He freaking calls it
does
now.
Look like it.
Sorry, I forgot he changed the name of it when he left WWE. It did not look good. I don't think he didn't get like the one arm, but that's besides the point. But you might be wondering to yourself, why is Rhino facing Nick Wayne in a title match? Well, a lot of this has to do with like Nick Wayne apparently entering like the Best of the Super Juniors in New Japan. Like that tournament's starting up this weekend, I think. So he's being part of that. And in storyline case, Christian Cage is basically, quote unquote, getting Nick Wayne prepared for all that by facing Rhino and Jay Lethal last week, I believe. And Christian continues to like belittle and undermine Nick Wayne and his accomplishments, and even like kind of disrespecting this TV title that he has. I don't know. I see the end goal of all this, where Nick Wayne finally going like over Christian Cage and kind of like pursuing his own things, like basically breaking up the patriarchy because of this. Yeah. But I mean, I see the end point. I'm not really here for the ride with it, but hey,
I just don't understand like how you're gonna turn Christian Cage heel. Like you really, I mean, turn him face, because you know the end game's probably him and Edge aligning with each other once again. But I'm just curious how you're gonna get him to that. How is it gonna make sense?
Yeah, unless you turn Edge heel.
Yeah, but I know some people are thinking. Yeah, but I mean, the game plan for All In is them and FTR, and FTR is already heel. Yeah, and they also and FTR did turn on Edge. Yeah, wait, what? Okay, I don't know. They're telling some sort of story with it. I'm not really on the ride for it, and I don't really care about it. It was fun with Christian Cage when he was doing the whole dead dad thing with everybody, but now he's just kind of turned into a prick dad figure for Nick Wayne. It's like, cool, neat, good job, dude. Oh, okay. All right, match of the night for me right here. The Young Bucks and Ricochet taking on Swerve, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. This was match of the night for me, because this was a fun match. Just watching everybody go. Like there was one point, or I guess a couple times, that because AEW's been doing this a lot, mainly with like these all-star tag matches that they keep doing, where like they'll have the camera like up above and it's just a singular shot of like an aerial view, just kind of watching all the action and all that. And it's a really good shot, and they do it again a lot with like multi-man tag matches like that. And yeah, I mean, this is very similar to what we've been seeing the past couple weeks, but I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of a fan of these dangly key matches where it's like, okay, great, you're showing me a lot of fun action. And a lot of fun moments too, because like the setup with all this is Ricochet went up to the Bucks and was like, "Hey, I know you guys have a Swerve problem, but I have the formula to defeat Swerve. So why don't we team up and I can help you guys out with the Swerve problem?" So they do, and they actually ended up winning too. Like thanks to Matt rolling up Swerve, which you don't see a lot with a talent like Swerve Strickland, and even commentary were talking about. Wow, there you go.
There we go.
All right, it's still streaming for me. That's this weird thing.
Yeah, like it on YouTube, it still says live, but it's frozen. And I haven't heard myself in a while.
Hey, something's going on. Yeah, I can't control the weather, so I apologize for that.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, you can't. Nobody can control the weather unless your name is Storm from the X-Men, but you know. Ah, there we go. All right, we're back, everybody. All right,
good.
I just heard you talk about the weather. Apologies, everybody. There's a thunderstorm going on, so it's deciding to mess with us a lot. We'll keep things very brief.
I'm actually gonna put a quick time code.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2:23. Oh wait, I'm just gonna put it down there. We'll know what that is afterwards. Yeah. Apologize again, guys.
Yeah. Again, we can't control the weather unless we're named Storm. But anyways, okay, I'll keep everything brief and all that. Again, interview with Jamie Hayter about her final with Mercedes. Yeah, I mean, it was basically a simple interview. Jamie Hayter being like, hey, Mercedes doesn't respect the legacy of Owen Hart. I do. I want to win it for that. They end up having a brawl outside. Mercedes ends up standing tall after dodging a Haterade, locking in her submission on Jamie Hayter. Yeah, they both been brawling, enhancing the feud going into the finals of the Women's Owen Hart tournament. Cool, neat, awesome, fan-flippin-tastic. Another championship eliminator match between Kazuchika Okada and Kevin Knight. Surprised this one lasted as long as it did, because there was a pre-match beatdown from Roosh on Kevin Knight, because apparently Kevin Knight cost Roosh a match that would have won him $100,000. Cool, we're doing more matches just for money. Awesome, great, fantastic. That was also on Collision, mind you. And yeah, so Roosh beats up Kevin Knight before the match, and out comes Speedball Mike Bailey to kind of run him out. And yeah, Kevin Knight ended up still having it was still a good match with Okada, with him, coming back at certain points, but it really should have been shorter, I think, considering what happened before the match, but that's fine. It's whatever. That's besides the point. And that leads into our main event of Samoa Joe taking on and defeating Claudio Castagnoli. And again, a barn burner of a match. Pretty good, all things considered. Again, Samoa Joe wins by clamping on that coquina clutch, basically a sleeper hold, whatever, right smack dab in the middle of the Claudio taps out almost instant. So cool, awesome. Death Riders come out because they want to get, continue putting the beat down on the ops on Samoa Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs comes out to run backup. So that's what he's been doing. He's been aligned with Samoa Joe and his group because they kind of need the help against the Death Riders, and they end up just destroying Claudio with a steel chair afterwards. Yeah, so, I mean, Samoa Joe's looking strong for his cage match with Moxley for the title next week. Doubt he's winning that match, but hey, it's still going to slap regardless. But, I mean, again, it was fine. I thought Dynamite was fine this week. A lot of matches that, again, the match quality was good, as is per tradition with Dynamite. It's just a lot of the logic is kind of out the window, especially when it comes to all these freaking championship eliminator. Can we do something else to find a number one contender for some of these titles? Can we do something else? Please, anything. Like, I know you got another tournament going. Why not an actual legitimate number one contender? Something other than the championship eliminators, especially on the women's side for Tony's stuff, because Tony has done nothing but championship eliminators. It's one thing if she's defending the that's something different, because yeah, you should be a defending champion, not having these championship eliminator matches, because they didn't even make sense when WWE was. I mean, they weren't calling them that, but even still, like when a champion's in a non-title match and they get pinned by a challenger, I always look at it just like, okay, that doesn't always mean that the challenger is going to end up getting the title in the end, because most of the time it's like, okay, well, the champion, yeah, they've gotten pinned, but now they know how the challenger works and all that, and like now the challenge that more going into them. I don't know, it's just those kind of matches just never sat well with me. But again, that was Dynamite. I'm gonna leave it there. Drop, how was NXT this week?
Yeah, so when it comes to NXT, I was really curious to see how things were going to be, considering all the cuts that we got when it came to certain directions for certain players. But we pretty much started off NXT where we had a segment with a no quarter catch club backstage where we had Charlie Dempsey and the rest of the no quarter catch through, because they're pretty much going to be in a battle royal. It wasn't the main event, it was like placed in the middle of the show, because the main event was the number one contenders match between Julia and Jordan Grace, which I'll touch on later. But this was pretty much to determine, okay, who is Obafemi's challenger? Like, who is he going to be facing at Battleground? So we were pretty much just having all these guys hyping each other up and everything, because the three of these guys were a part of that tournament. So that's pretty much what that was. And then we had our opening match, which was the 6-man tag match where we had Dark State, which is pretty much the new group that's really running things. And then we're going up against Joe Hendry and Hank and Tank, which are our new tag team champions in NXT, because there was a thing that happened last week where you had Dark State going after Joe Hendry, I believe, because I can't really remember. It's like a little bit of a blur, but I do recall them doing something with him. I think he was attacked, which is what either was him. Yeah, it was him that was attacked, which then led to a segment with Hank and Tank backstage saying that they would help him. So they ended up having a match with one another. Dark State won, which I'm happy about, because you want to make sure that you keep this new faction strong. You don't want them just to win like a match or two and then just fall flat and have one of the baby faces win the match just to be like, oh yeah, you know, the baby face got over this time. They're not going to have a clean streak all the way. So I'm happy that they're actually taking their time to establish this faction so you can treat them as a legitimate threat. But then afterwards, you had Trick Williams come out and attack Joe Hendry, because they obviously have ongoing beef right now. And Trick Williams also attacked Joe Hendry at the most recent TNA pay-per-view after the match that they had. So they obviously have some plans in store for Trick and Joe Hendry. We ended up getting a backstage segment with Stephanie Vaquer. Lola Vice was also involved, and they were discussing Battleground. And we saw Julia saying that, you know, she's going to beat Jordan Grace to become the number one contender so she can get her title back, which is, you know, the sort of direction that she is currently on now for the moment, of course. We had Zarya go up against Kalani Jordan. She ended up defeating her with the spear. You know, she pretty much took her out. The match didn't go on for super long, but she did get some aid from Soruka, because we do feel like we have some sort of thing going on between the both of them, which I feel like Soruka and Zarya could potentially happen at Battleground. Maybe it feels like they're definitely building into a Zarya heel turn down the line when it comes to certain things that could taste between them. We ended up getting a interview backstage with Jordan Grace, and it was interrupted by Izzy Dame with Lash Legend, who, you know, they both want to claim the top of the food chain, especially with Lash Legend, since the the metaphor is broken up now, so now she's on a path of her own. So pretty much just building up the sort of tension between those ladies, probably elevating the women's division further now that they have to find a new direction to go down, considering that metaphor is broken up, which is what we saw last week. So now Lash Legend has to find her own footing. We had the 25-man battle royal. We actually had an appearance from Elijah here, which is actually known as Elias in WWE.
Yeah.
He made an appearance here. That was pretty cool. He had a really good reaction there. And Myla Osborne ended up winning the match. He ended up eliminating Ethan Page and Sean Spears at the same time. And Javon Evans was doing really good in this match, especially against Sean Legacy, which is also part of Evolve, because there was some Evolve talent involved in this match, along with some LFG talent that were involved in here as well. But Javon Evans was doing really good, and I am super excited to see what else is in store for him now that he's done with whatever's going on with Obafemi and Trick Williams, since it seems like they're on, you know, different trajectories now. So curious to see what Javon Evans is going to be doing. And then the post match, we had Charles Dempsey actually claim that I believe this was a backstage segment where Dempsey wanted to claim Myla Osborne's title shot But then, Obafemi came up to him and everything, and he was talking about, he didn't know he was going up against somebody like Miles Bourne, but here we are. You're going to be facing me at Battleground, and this is honestly a pretty good moment for Miles Bourne because he is a pretty good wrestler, and I'm very curious to see if this is going to be like a push that elevates him even further, because I did see some reports floating around about him potentially getting like some sort of push when it comes to where they want to position him on the men's roster. So I am very curious to see what's going to be turning out with that. I don't expect him to win this match at Battleground, but it was still a nice thing to put him in a spot like that against somebody like Obafemi, so at least you can see what the dude's capable of. And then we had another backstage segment with I think it was like Inimura, where he ended up telling Josh Briggs that he was returning to Noah because he's from Noah, but he was able to come to NXT, do his little stick over here for a little bit. So we see him for the last time here, because I know the following week, like last week, he actually was talking about how he needs to leave soon, and he sort of convinced Ava for him and Josh Briggs to have a title match against Tank and Tank. So that was something that we saw there. Jada Parker defeated Carmen Petrovic. Thea Hale ended up saving her after the match. Wasn't anything crazy, just building, some sort of side quest for a couple ladies on there outside of the main picture, because obviously, that's pretty stacked there when it comes to what's going on there. And then we had our match between Jordynne Grace and Julia. And I have to go back and watch this match because I remember when I was watching NXT, I was like really, really exhausted because I didn't get as much sleep that day. So I watched it here and there, but I do have to go back and watch it. I did see a good chunk of it, but I'm going to have to go back and refresh my memory. But it was a really good match. We're actually able to see Julia at her full capacity at the level that a lot of people expected her to be when it comes to her in WWE. So that was really good to see her with Jordynne Grace, and who else would there be to really bring that beast out of her. So that was really nice to see. And now we have 2 matches set up for a Battleground, which I believe is at the end of the month, which is Obafemi versus Miles Bourne for the NXT Championship. And then we have Stephanie Becker versus Jordynne Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. And I feel like if I had to make early predictions, and I'll talk about them once we get closer, Oba, I would assume, is going to be winning the match. Stephanie and Jordynne can go either way, because they could give Jordynne the title and put her in that position, so at least she can fill that spot. Because I have this feeling, since we did talk about a draft potentially happening, and since she's already been featured on Monday Night Raw, and it seems like they actually have a clear direction for the ladies when it comes to the Monday Night Raw women's division, because I will admit I've been enjoying what they've been doing with the ladies. That segment's actually been feeling meaningful on the program. I could potentially see Stephanie losing this match. She could very well win it too. But if she were to drop it to anybody, I would say Jordynne Grace. She would be a competitor that I would say would make sense and isn't like, a random name. And she would be able to carry that division. So it could go either way, but this could very well be Stephanie Becker's swan song until she heads to the main roster. And I also forgot to mention, I mentioned earlier in the show, the match that Jordynne had with Julia, I believe, was her swan song as well for NXT, because now, based on what we saw for the title for the match card on Monday, we have her and Roxanne teaming up against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. So more than likely, you're going to have her consistently on television moving forward with that. Yeah, so that was pretty much NXT, just the building grounds for Battleground, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited to see what like Jordynne Grace and Stephanie Becker can do in the ring against each other. I can't recall if I've heard of them facing off before this, or I mean, I know they have in like some multi-women matches and all that, but singles match, I don't really recall them having one. And yeah, about the Jordynne Grace Julia match, because there were people that were kind of upset and worried about Julia, because she did take some some pretty sick bumps from that match.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything coming out from there about Julia being like banged up from it or like having issues. So I'm assuming as of right now that everything's fine. So
Yeah, she seems
I
fine.
mean, to be honest, yeah. Yeah. To be honest, it kind of just looked to me like a lot of bumps you kind of see on like Stardom shows, but you know, they're professionals. They can take care of themselves. We'll hear anything if anything comes up. But yeah, I think that about does it for tonight. I mean, we covered a lot of news. We covered Backlash. We covered NXT and Dynamite. We kind of hit all of our nails in this little coffin. Anything you want to leave the wonderful fans off with before we decide to head on out of here?
All I'll say is, we got a fun 2 days of wrestling outside of what we covered today when it comes to SmackDown, which hopefully we get some good things coming out of there. And hopefully we have I will say when it comes to this Backlash show, hopefully we have some things to look forward coming out of it. Because when it comes to the Backlash show, it's like kind of hit or miss for me. More as of recent, they've been pretty good. So I'm hoping we have some things play out here that definitely convinces us in a way where it's like, holy shit, we got to see what's going to be happening next. Like, I want to see some really exciting things happening this weekend. So
yeah, same here. I really want to get hyped up this weekend, and I think Backlash, like on paper when you look at it, it looks all right. It might be a sleeper hit for shows this year, but we'll have to wait and see with that when Saturday comes around. And be sure to stick around. Again, like Drop said, we have some great content coming out your way this weekend. We got SmackDown coming out tomorrow night with our post-show shenanigans that we always get into. Saturday, well, stay tuned tomorrow night for us to solidify if we are doing a sidecast, if me and Vash are getting on Twitch to watch the show. So if we are, be sure to check out the Twitch. The link is in the description below for all of that. And, we're definitely doing our post-show as well for Backlash. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a very fun weekend, hopefully. Hopefully we don't have to come on here and let out some grievances. Hopefully Gunther just destroys Pat McAfee, and hopefully John Cena's little DQ win, if that does happen, ends with a Cody return. Because, hey, we got to send the fans happy some way. But,
definitely want that.
We're going to go ahead and end the show then. Yeah, oh my gosh, please just be more satisfying than Mania was. That's all we ask. You guys had 2.5, 3 weeks of build for Backlash.
Yeah.
Let's have a good show this weekend. All right, people. But yeah, so let us know down in the comments. Let us know down in the chat your thoughts on everything that we've talked about here tonight. All the time codes will be up here for all of you watching the VOD of this. And yeah, we're just going to take time for thanking you for taking time out of your day to listen to Grappling with the Week. Before we head out, as always, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can see all of those handles right below in the yellow. Animal We Studio, Legendary Vash, Drop This Box, Watkins MW, and of course Weaves of the Ring, as well as using the hashtag Weaves of the Ring to interact with us before, during, and after these shows. And it's also a great way to give us feedback for these shows so we can continue to get better, as long as no thunderstorms decide to crap on our parade. Not Weaves of the Ring, Grappling with the Week is presented by Animal We Studio. Thanks to our production team for all of your hard work. Thank you for joining us once again. And a special shout out to you, Stu. I know times are hard right now with John Cena being healed, but we love and appreciate you for everything that you do running down that ramp with that camera. And as always, people, we have been your Weaves of the Ring. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night, have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and we will see you for SmackDown tomorrow night and Backlash this weekend.
See you guys.